the market is experiencing a huge sell-off. Are you probably wondering, are there any bullish signs? Are there any positive motivation again for me to start buying because I really cannot deal with this anymore? Well, in this video, I will give you a few examples of bullish signs still on the horizon, waiting to come. And I also will zoom in a bit on Meta and MicroStrategy because these two stocks have been hit heavily by the fire of short sellers and of course by the market sell-off. So let's get into Meta first. So Meta is being sold off like crazy since the whole earnings season, and you're probably wondering why specifically Meta. Well, Meta is one of the few companies of the whole Mag 7, I think one of the only companies that has really been investing heavily. So when it comes to investing in AI, when it comes to buying Nvidia chips, Meta really takes the cake. They're one that really straining their capex, they're really straining their cash supply and buying Nvidia chips like crazy. And then the short sellers came out saying, look, Meta might be buying all these chips. They might really like creating this whole inventory, this whole arsenal of Nvidia chips. However, the chips they're buying, they will become obsolete in 2 or 3 years, and they will have to write that off. They have to like throw all these chips away and take that loss, and they probably won't build any good AI models with those chips that they're buying right now. So this is causing a huge sell-off because investors are saying again, they're getting this metaverse PTSD. They're thinking, again, Zuckerberg is spending money on things that are irrelevant. He's starting, again, a lot of projects and investing a lot of shareholder cash into that. And he's probably wasting it again. So a lot of people still have trauma from the whole metaverse where still Zuckerberg spent almost like 70 billion on, and then you just have to write off that whole project saying it's not, relevant, it's not going anywhere. So a lot of investors are getting that same feeling again from Zuckerberg, and especially when the short sellers came out, they kind of raised doubt about Meta and the whole spending. So this is why Meta is really being pushed down forward. And what could really help the stock is if Zuckerberg comes out to say, look, we really believe in the AI rally. This is different than metaverse. We're spending a lot on this whole AI rally, but it is necessary. And in the end, we will build things that are really relevant, that are profitable, that will really make Meta one of the most valuable companies in the world. And it will really be all worth it. So I really need Zuckerberg to come out and say these things to the investors to really put them at ease, to give them a feeling of comfortability, like, hey, we might be spending a lot. However, all the money, all the shares, all the money that we put in the shares is being used for something good, and eventually we will see the payoff. And Zuckerberg needs to do that. However, if he doesn't do that, then another sign of relief, another sign of a potential rally will be when Nvidia earnings come, and Nvidia is really gonna have to put everybody at ease to say, hey, all the chips that people are buying, they still want to buy them. There's still a huge demand for our chips, and there's still the whole AI rally is still picking up steam. We might have a little bit of a consolidation, a little bit of a drawdown, people taking profit. However, the whole rally is still intact. Don't you guys worry. And Nvidia chips are still top of the line, and Meta, like really putting all these chips in their archive, in their arsenal, in the inventory is really a good thing for Meta, and it really puts them ahead. This will give Meta the boost again to break through above that 600 barrier and go above again, because right now there isn't any good news to push Meta further. Now, let's go with strategy. Strategy also has been hit by a lot of short seller activity. A lot of people coming out saying, hey, why should I buy a strategy share if I could just go buy Bitcoin on the open market? And I can buy a fraction of Bitcoin. It will cost me maybe that will cost me less than buying a share in strategy. So if I buy the share in strategy, I get less Bitcoin in return of the whole balance sheet that they have accumulated. So that's why people are thinking, why should I even buy strategy shares? It's trading at a premium above Bitcoin. So what is the rest of the company worth? What is it worth to have so much Bitcoin accumulated on your balance sheet and you cannot do anything with it? You cannot really get cash from it. Why do you have so much Bitcoin on your balance sheet? So what MicroStrategy did, so what Saylor did today, is that he tweeted out saying, think different. And of course, this is a kind of reference to Apple. This is the slogan of Apple. And why does he want to be like Apple? Well, Apple is one of the only Mag 7 that's kind of unscathed in this whole AI rally sell-off. This is because Apple chose to go a different way. They didn't spend like crazy on AI. They didn't spend like crazy on the whole tech rally. They kind of choose to differentiate their business supply. They kind of choose to really set their operations straight. So they say, hey, we're going to partner up with MP Materials. We're going to build in-house. We're going to build on US soil. So this will give us an advantage compared to other people that have to pay tariffs. So this is why Apple has really choose a different strategy than going all in on AI like Amazon, like Microsoft, like Meta, like Google. So this is why Apple will move differently when it comes to whole tech sell-off. So Apple is a bit moving in a different direction. So this is what Saylor is referring to. He's saying like, hey, we're more like Apple. We're not like the other stocks. We might not be, you might not see our vision yet, but we do have a vision and you will see it in the end. So this is what Saylor is saying. And then of course, when it comes to what will be a huge kind of rally for both of the stocks, what will be a rally for crypto, what will be a rally for tech, is of course when the government opens up again. When the government opens up, you will see a lot of money flowing in again. You see a lot of people putting liquidity back at work. And of course, this will lead to a lot of buyers again entering the market, because they're right now just waiting on the sideline until money starts flowing again. And speaking of money flowing again, when the Fed start cutting rates again, this will of course provide liquidity again to the banks. Banks will start lending out more money at lower rates, and you will see a lot of people supplying money again in the stock market and in the crypto market. And then of course, MicroStrategy being added to S&P 500 might happen again this year. It might be finally the year that strategy will be added to the S&P 500. So December 31st, this will cause a lot of liquidity, especially for strategy, if they enter the S&P 500. So this is one thing you also need to keep in mind if you're bullish on strategy. This is a bullish sign for strategy. And then of course, the Fed is buying debt again. So they're increasing the balance sheet. So what does this mean? It means that the Fed is buying debt and they're supplying liquidity to the economy. They say, hey, give me your debt, I will give you cash. And the more they do this, the more they grow their balance sheet, the more they acquire debt, and the more they supply cash into the economy and to the sector, to the stock sector as well. So these are all the bullish signs that are on the horizon. They will all happen end of November. The government opening up will happen this week already, and then all the other bullish signs will happen end of November, beginning December. So these are the signs that you need to look for as a bull in the whole AI rally, in the whole crypto rally.